And welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your hosts, Daniel.
And Daniel.
Daniel, I am so glad that you and I have voices all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, it's been a rough one. So the audio and visual listeners for YouTube and stuff like that, they won't notice it. We took a break. I haven't been able to edit the last podcast I recorded about GAMA. Yep. So this is just going to be immediately boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
back
exactly.
To back.
And, you know, if you've been listening to our podcast, you know we took a quick break, which is fine, you know. But I can already tell you, the episode that we filmed after the GAMA Trade show, which was just, you know, our review of it.
Yeah.
You're already going to tell from my voice. You fared pretty well from that convention.
Yeah, I was great after the convention, but we even took a couple weeks because of that.
Right.
We just got a new puppy in the house, so we had to make a bolt hole, and the only clean area we could get to was my office.
Yeah.
So finally we fixed up the spare bedroom, so now I can get back into the office. It's just more so like if the puppy woke up in the middle of the night, me and my wife both work in the mornings, so we had somewhere to run to and sleep because we were crate training it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
no, that makes sense.
So we couldn't do that. And then it's like, we were like, okay, it was 2 weeks. We're going to record this week. Well, yes. one of the weeks we were really stupid windy too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing that here in New Mexico, you know, New Mexico as general, if you're in Albuquerque, for example, you probably won't have technical issues with your internet that often.
Yeah.
But for some reason here in Las Cruces, if it is that windy out, which it does, we're getting 50, 60 mile per hour gusts. For some reason, the internet, like just wireless capabilities, is just garbage.
We were talking about it too because we were like, hey, should we record today and all this and that? And I'm like, nah, you know what? Let's just take a break. We're still both very tired for GAMA. Both of us were working as well. You had just gone back to school because spring break had just finished.
Yep.
And then the wind was going, and both of us were like, our allergies still suck. And then I'm like, my internet just went out. So
yeah, exactly. And that happened for a few weeks, and then you got sick all of a sudden.
Yeah, I still have a cough, but yeah, I'm feeling better now. But yeah,
you were hurting.
I had a bad sinus infection. I actually went to work the Sunday, Monday, and I could feel it coming. And then
like the weekend song.
And then Tuesday, I had a call out. Like, I had a fever all Monday night, and then, like, it was between 101 and 103.
Right.
And so I had a call out Tuesday, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the urgent care today. Well, I wasn't feeling good, so I didn't trust myself driving by myself, and so the wife was going to take me, but she got stuck at work late, and by that time, when she got out, the urgent care just stops taking patients after, like, 5 or 6, because they close at 7. So I'm like, you know what, fine, I'll take myself Wednesday. I think I'm going to feel better Wednesday. And I did feel slightly better, but I wanted to go make sure I get COVID tested. I went to make sure I got strep tested as well.
Good.
And it turned out it was just a massive ingrained sinus infection. In fact, part of my right side of my face was swollen because of it.
Oof. Wow. Yeah, no, that's intense.
I am on a nasal nose spray, some allergy medication, and an antibiotic.
Welcome to the desert, people. Welcome. No kidding. No, I was like the same way. What was so strange is I don't know what came over me because it was just allergies.
Yeah.
And one night, right before one of our Mondays last week, I got massive chills in the middle of the night, and I was just shivering for like 2 hours. I didn't have a fever though. Like my body wasn't. It was just responding weirdly. And yeah, I woke up and I was so sore because of all that shaking. It was so strange. Mm-hmm. But, you know, hey, we're back on our feet now.
Yeah.
Nothing could stop us from talking about board games.
Unless I get another sinus infection.
Which, I mean, as of right now, we'll at least get another episode in. So we should be good.
Yeah, so I'm pretty good right now. It's just, it was last week was rough. I didn't start feeling good till Saturday. I was actually released to go back to work on Friday from the doctor. He wanted me on a couple days of antibiotics.
Sure.
I didn't go back to work till Monday. Mind you, we got Easter off as well, so that was kind of nice.
I know. I drove by your area of work and noticed that they were closed.
Yeah, we were shut down for Easter. I didn't expect it. I was expecting to go back to work, and it just gave me an extra day off. So I was off for 6 days, and probably 4.5 of those I was miserable. Friday, I actually had to go to El Paso, take my wife for a test, and while she was taking her test, I was like, oh, the Cielo Vista Mall is like right over there, so I'll just go hang out at Cielo Vista for a little bit. I walked for like 10 minutes and I was dead. I was exhausted. Wow. Yeah, I went back and I was like, no.
What day did you go?
Huh?
When did you go?
It was Friday of last week, so
you and I were in El Paso on the same day, almost in the same location, mind you.
Yeah.
I was across the street.
Where at?
In the fountains.
Oh, we went to the fountains too. We had lunch at the Melting Pot after
Oh,
1
I
o'clock.
love it. I like that place. That's really good.
It was pricey, but it was so good.
I normally host my normal gaming on Fridays.
Yeah.
And a mutual friend of ours who's been on the podcast, Jim, he just turned 40 last week.
Oh, okay.
And so we thought, what better way to celebrate a 40-year-old man's birthday? I took him to an escape room. We went to
That's what you get. I saw
door.
the picture, yeah.
Yep. And so we went to the escape room. Unfortunately, there were some technical difficulties, but overall, it was a really good experience. Really good, neat puzzles. The pieces, like a lot of the components and the aesthetics of the room was really cool. We did one of the rooms called Once Upon a Time. It's like a fantasy themed, they had, like the Snow White and Prince Charming and all that stuff.
What time you guys were there?
Probably around noon. That was noon when we were at that.
Yeah, we were literally in the same spot at the same time.
That's funny.
We went to the fountains at 1 o'clock.
That's amazing. So, and we drove by. We walked by the melting pot on the way back, and I was kind of like, man, maybe we should go get lunch there. We ended up going to a steakhouse or a steak burger place.
Okay, yeah.
Great American, and got
Great American's pretty good too.
Oh, we love it. But then we thought, okay, obviously we played a game. It was, an escape room.
Yeah.
We need to have more mature fun. Let's go to Bobo's, which is a family fun center.
You got mini golf. You got bumper boats.
And we did bumper boats. We did mini golf. We did go-karts.
They have an arcade in there too.
Oh, we were there for like 5 hours.
Weren't they the only place in El
tag.
Paso for a while that had DDR?
Yes. Yeah, for a while. They even had laser tag, which I never thought I would be that kind of person, but as soon as I walked in there, well, my daughter who was on the same team and two other like maybe 10-year-olds, right? Yeah. They just start following me. I take high ground. I'm on the very top. They got my back. I have an army of of elementary students, of munchkins behind me, ready to cap anybody I can. I'm taking out kids down below, just pop, 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 and then, I would get, and then when I'd crouch down, they would all be like, let's get him. It was so hilarious. I ended up scoring the highest on my team, second highest in the entire game.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So I was like, wow. I'm
shooting people, huh?
Yeah, apparently I'm good at it. I don't know. It was really strange. But let me tell you one more story. So right before the podcast, and I just thought this was humorous, I've been trying to get my kids into watching more movies and stuff, and I'm trying to think, what are some good comedies that I could show them, that they would enjoy instead of just, the same old Disney movies. And last night I finally decided to, and the reason we brought this up is because earlier we were just talking about, before we're filming, we were talking about different movies. And
forgetting
about certain scenes. Yeah. But I showed my kids.
Case in point, I brought up Ace Ventura and how he got paid.
Yes. Yeah. And I showed my whole family Dumb and Dumber, which is a classic movie, right? I mean, it's funny.
Speaking of Jim Carrey,
right. And my son thought it was hilarious. But the one scene where he takes the Turbolax and he goes into the bathroom and it's the most audibly just awful thing. I don't know why, but my daughter just started crying. She was so upset by this. Like, she just starts crying.
That's my wife every time I make a fart joke.
Not like upset. Like, I don't know. Like, she is. It's almost like someone is threatening her. Like, she's upset at the idea of this grown man having terrible bowel problems. And my son's laughing like hysterically, and she's just like starts pouting and like tears are rolling. Like, it was the strangest thing. I've never seen that kind of reaction from essentially a poop joke.
Yeah, exactly.
It baffled me, so I just wanted to share that with you because I thought that was one of the funniest things I've experienced in a really long time.
Oh man.
Watching a poop joke so violent that my 10-year-old daughter cried. Take that as
well. Then again, she does live with you, so it probably brought up some PTSD.
See, that's why. I was about to say that's why she's probably used to it. But good point. It's like when like actual war veterans hear like the explosions behind them.
Yeah.
Is that her PTSD?
There you go.
Our bathrooms are adjacent, so I believe that.
so bad.
Oh,
all right, you want to talk about board games instead of poop jokes?
Yeah, let's actually talk about board games now.
So I got a question to ask
Speaking of poop jokes.
What have you been playing?
I have been playing quite a few games, actually, and there's more that I played that I want to talk about. So I'm going to talk about a few, and I'll throw a couple in just like right at the end there.
Yeah.
So there's a game called Shrek 12, which I'm about to sneeze, so I may jump away in a minute.
What else is new?
Yeah, right. And of course, as soon as I take that pause, it's gone. All right, so Shrek 12, it's a roll and write from Bruno Cathala, which I know you like Bruno Cathala, and I know you're a fan of roll and writes.
Oh yeah.
It's very smart. And the idea is that you're hiking up a mountain.
Well, of course, it's a Cathala game.
It's a Cathala game, right? And what you do with the dice is almost overly common, but yet I haven't seen it before. So what you're going to do, you roll 2 dice. Everyone writes a number somewhere on their board. And the board is a picture of a mountain that's made up of a number of circles. Mm-hmm. And after you put down the first circle, you have to draw it adjacent. And what you're trying to do is get numbers that are the same, that are adjacent, or that are in a row. Like you might want like a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to make like a trail. Simple idea.
Yeah.
Now, when you roll the 2 dice, you could do one of 5 things.
Okay.
You can either take the higher of the 2 numbers and write that in. You can take the lower of the 2 numbers. You could either add them together, or you can subtract the lowest from the higher number.
So get the difference.
Yep. Or you can multiply them together.
So a 4 and a 3 becomes a 12.
Yes. However, every circle can only hold at most a 12. So if you happen to multiply them together and it makes like a 16, like say it's a 4 and a 4, then you just put a sad face, and that's one of your penalties. So minus 3 points at the end.
So you have to make the determination after you roll?
Yes. However, you have a grid of 20 spaces, and each of those 5 options you can only do 4 of throughout the game.
Oh, damn.
So immediately, if you have a 4 and a 3, you could have a 7, you could have a 4, a 3, a 1, or a 12. Those are your options immediately. And one of the dice has a 0 through 5. It's not just a normal D6. One of them is a D6, but one's 0 through 5. So you have to determine, because if you run out of, like, say, the high number, and you roll a 4 and a 3, you're like, I really want that 4. Darn. You can't do that. There's 20 there's 20 options that you can mark down. There's 19 spots on the board.
Oh, jeez.
So you will have to use most of it. And then once you get good at it, there's its own solo mode that has this whole couple of cards that's special to that. But there are also 3 different maps, like some with like rough terrain that can only handle 1 through 6. There are some other different things that have to do with it. And then there's a number of sealed envelopes that you're not supposed to open until certain things happen, because you could play this as a campaign. That's super cool. So I've only played the first map, and I enjoyed it, and I showed a group of my friends. They did not enjoy it that much. I played like as a solo. They thought it was okay, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was really fun. I can't wait to show you that.
I want to check it out. I like Cathala. I like Roll and Writes. Yeah. I love the simplicity of what he does, right. But how many choices like that? That's the reason why I like Abyss. You have basically 3 choices, but right. You keep pushing your luck. Oh wait, that card keeps getting stolen from me, but look at all the pearls I'm getting now. So yeah, exactly. I love the way he does things. So yeah, no, that one looks interesting.
Good deal.
The first one I want to talk about is a game that you were in as well, and this was Meadow.
Yeah, Meadow.
That was a pleasing game. I really enjoyed it. I'm like, the artwork is great.
It was pleasant.
Yeah, it was a very pleasant game. And yeah. I mentioned this too. This is like, for me, Meadow is what Wingspan did to the gaming thing, is that it gives you much broader choices to make on a design of a game. You wouldn't basically see stuff like Meadow, I don't think, anyways. Maybe. Yeah. But because Wingspan bringing out that overarching, hey, look, you don't have to be orcs or fantasy and stuff like that. You can bring stuff that is pleasant in the board gaming industry and people will like it. And Meadow is one of those things that really shocked me, how simple it is, but so many good choices that you have to make. Because in essence, you can either play your thing here, where you could take a card across one way, as many places. So if you play, I put my 3 here, I could take a card 3 that way, but then
Yep.
sorry, that way. And then, or if I place it here, I take the third card over here. Or if I place it at the bottom, I take the third card towards the top.
Right.
And so you have those choices. So you take that card, and you can play a card, but that card may need requirements that you have in your tableau. So if I have already a worm out there, well, I can play this bird on top of that worm because a bird eats a worm.
Right.
And you're basically just putting all these tableaus out there trying to get your points. Then you have another little chart that you could be playing over here where you're playing the other side of it, which has little different smart choices, because you're also trying to say, hey, look, I got a bird and a stone, and I can put my token up there. And you're trying to get as many of your tokens up at around the campfire, I guess you could say what it was. This way, because the more points you get up there is what your point is going to be. So if I get my 3 up there, I'm getting 3 points. But if I can get my 4 up there, I'm getting the maximum points I can get up there.
Right.
So it's very smart about what it's doing. And I mean, the first couple turns, you and me were like, huh?
Yeah,
What's going on?
It was confusing at
It's
first.
confusing at first, but once we started picking up, it's like, oh, I get this. Oh, that's smart. Dang it, Daniel, why are you taking that spot from me?
Right.
That kind of stuff.
There goes the hate drafting as
Yeah.
usual. Yeah.
And so it was a very smart game and a very pretty game. I love the art on this. I
Right.
love the animals in it because you don't really see a lot of that sort of stuff. It's got like a stout in it. Had some really gorgeous birds that you see in some other games.
Right.
But it also had rodents, amphibians, snakes with a beautiful art style. So yeah, Meadow. Actually, one of my pleasant surprises that I've played so far this year. All right, and so that game was Metal. And before we forget to mention, we will not be doing another drawing for the board game. Lexi B did get in contact with us and did take the game. So
That's right. That's right. We forgot to say that. Did accept it, and from what I understand, she hasn't gotten a chance to play it yet, but I will be letting you know when she does.
all right, sounds good.
All right.
So moving on to your next game.
Moving on to my next game. So that was definitely one that I was pleasantly surprised by, and I ended up playing that quite a way, or almost a month ago. But the next one I wanted to talk about is one that I was definitely surprised by. I bought it as soon as we had it available at our shop, which if you've listened to the previous podcast, you'll know that we provide a lot of suggestions to our to the store owner.
Yeah.
And he definitely reciprocated because he came out. We've gotten so much great stuff in stock. And this was Hedgehog Roll. It's a children's game where you are racing to get to the house by rolling a tennis ball hedgehog over Velcro pieces. You either have daisies.
Man, you've been talking about this for years.
I've been looking forward to it. It looked fun. And the game night version includes a cooperative mode, which you're racing a fox to the house, which is the same fox from Outfoxed.
Oh, that's
Another
awesome.
line. It was great. But no, honestly, I mean, if you've played Katamari, if you know video games, Katamari Damacy, that's the idea. You're doing that. As you can either play co-op or versus, whichever one. Roll a tennis ball across it. Any pieces that get picked up or flip over, those are yours to use. Use however you want. Whenever a certain number become face up, turn it face down again. Rinse and repeat until the game's over. It is awesome. It's really fun. My only gripe is I eventually want to get a blue tennis ball for it. That's all I'm saying. But that is Hedgehog Roll from Game Right.
All right, moving on to my next game, and this was another one that you were in. And this one, we both were super not really wanting to play, but we got it for free at GAMA. And this is Meeples and Monsters.
Yes.
Both of us were like, we'll try it out. The art style's kind of it just looks all right.
Generic, right?
And then we played it, and then we're just, all of a sudden, we're just like, huh. I played a little bit more. Huh. And then I made a great combo. Huh. It kept going, and it kept going.
Yeah,
and
kept
by
going.
the end of the game, and mind you, this was not a short game. We played it about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
It felt like an hour and a half. It took us 3.
Yeah.
It took us a really long time. Like
Yeah,
an
'cause it
hour
was-
past our kick out time. when
Yeah,
you
that is
normally
true.
kick us
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And we started it 2 hours before.
Yeah, that's right.
So but that's what's so good about it is that it doesn't feel as long as it was.
Yeah, no, it felt great. It's a great bag builder. I really would call this an Orleans killer for me. I wasn't enamored with Orleans as some of our friends, but playing this one, I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to touch
Our
Orleans.
mutual friend who played it, he later confirmed to me that he was on before he played that, he was considering buying Orleans and now he's like, nah, I don't need to.
Yeah.
I have it. I
Yeah.
have Meeples and Monsters.
This was it was such a good game, and he if it's the one we're thinking about that we played with, he has the Kickstarter version too.
Yes.
And so,
does.
yeah, it is. It was phenomenal. I was shocked. We were both looking at it like, hey, if we don't like it, we can trade it in for something else later down the
that
line.
was our mindset.
Yeah, and then we were white. And so when I said like metal
good.
was a big surprise for me this year, Meeples and Monsters, if we did like our biggest surprises of 2022, this would probably be the top of the list. Cause,
So far.
yeah, because I was not thinking I was going to like it that much. I think it was going to be okay with it.
This wouldn't be my biggest surprise of the year so far, but yeah, it's number 2. A close number 2.
No, it's number 1 for me right now because the other games that I'm going to talk about today, I knew I was going to like.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
this one,
certainly.
it shocked me because I'm like, I was very hesitant. I thought, okay, maybe this is going to hit like a 5 or 6 for me. So middle of the road. And so I'm like, oh, that's okay. I got it. I can use it for trade fodder later on. And now I don't think
we're
I'm going to
keeping
get
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a really good game.
It was really good. And we have the retail version, and it's still really well done for a retail version.
Yep.
It's got really nice bags. It's got really nice meeples that you can put in there. It is great cardboard quality. The card stock is a little but not bad.
Yeah.
It's
you don't need to shuffle them hardly, you know.
yeah,
Except
so
for
it's
the
not something that's
monsters,
not
but-
really that important. But this was such a good game, and it's basically you're just trying to collect enough meeples to bring them out of the bag for you can start fighting these monsters to get as many points, be the best trainer of the realm, basically to fight all these monsters. And it was me.
Yeah, you owned it.
I also did like the fact that I lucked out. I fought a monster, which gave me the ability to make my peasants worth something instead of
Right. But here's the thing, though. Yes, me and our mutual friend, we were fighting over second and third place.
Yeah.
And you kind of have a runaway, but I didn't feel like it was,
And it was
unobtainable.
so
I
close,
thought we
too.
had a chance.
By the
at
time we
all
got
times.
to the end of the game, I think it was only a 9 or 10 point spread between first and third.
Yeah, it was
So it
really
was
close.
super close.
In my last turn, I might have done better, but I really pulled like the worst things I could have.
Because you get the gray meeples in there that just do nothing. And
Yeah.
just basically your dead cards from Deck Builder.
Right.
But so, Meeples and Monsters, I thought that was a phenomenal game. AEG knocked it out of the park. This is one that I was like, because they've been hitting on all cylinders for me. And I thought this one was just going to be a miss. And it surprisingly was not.
Yeah, AEG needs to stop making so many good games. That's what
Right?
I'm
Yeah,
telling
they've
you.
gotten really
No,
good.
They're up there now. Like there's
If they're
such
coming
a
out
good-
with something, I'm going to look at it.
Yes, absolutely. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'm all in. The next game I wanted to talk about was I finally played. I'm gonna give some other shoutouts. There was only one game that was published originally by Thing 12 that I had not played yet, and I finally got it to the
And
table.
the Seals of
The
Cthulhu.
Seals of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I finally played it.
And why is this a big thing for you?
Well, so a quick honorable mention of games that I'm anticipating is they are publishing a Game of Mine matches,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, I could be that kind of person and talk about matches and make it as an honorable mention. And I could be like that guy who's like saying, hey, like it's going on Kickstarter next month. But no, I decided not to point out how many great quality components that they plan on printing with this. And how they are basically coining matches as, if you like Seals of Cthulhu, this is your next step. But Seals of Cthulhu was the last game that I hadn't played from them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you know, it's a 2-player only game, which I tend to like. But for some reason about it, like I don't like Cthulhu all that well. But first off, the production. Oh my god.
Really nice.
Oh my god.
I haven't played it. I saw it.
Everything that's in that box is amazing.
In fact,
The clear-
I got to
the clear
play
slipcover.
with the stuff
Yeah.
at GAMA because
The-
Thing 12 was showing it off.
the magnetic box, the insert like extra components that just build the lore, the inside of the box that's so well designed, the bag that's in that looks like a government like evidence bag, all of the art on the cards are amazingly gorgeous. And normally I don't like it when like 2 cards are put together to make a third card in the middle or like a third image. This does it really well. Plus the meeples are screen printed, so you either have cultists or investigated. Oh my god. Their production on this was just amazing. It was phenomenal.
It's really nice, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm sorry. I know I'm ranting about it, but I love the production. But then I played it. and it's a bidding game, a 2-player bidding game, where you have investigators, which are basically your currency. On your turn, you lay down a card face down.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you want both halves of a card.
Okay.
But they're worth anywhere from 1 to 5 points with you, and you play with one of like the included 8 to 12 elder gods that you both get a single card. So it's very little random.
Okay.
I know exactly what cards you're playing as a cultist. And so I play one face down, and I might say, oh, I want to bid like, I don't know, one person to investigate on it.
Okay.
And you might bid, I'll go 3, you know? But it's a closed auction. So if you bid 3 and I'm like, all right, well, I'll just take the 3. You get the card face down. I get the 3 investigators that I can use for later auctions, which is already smart. But cards that you've previously won, if you like those, or if you don't need those, like let's say I had like half of a potion, I'm like, I don't need this potion.
Yeah.
You know, I could pitch it towards influence and use it to bid. But of course, if you accept the bid, you get that card face up. And then I would get the other card. So it continues back and forth. Closed auction, smart bidding, only plays in like 5 rounds. It's really quick. And of course, when you get both halves of a card, whether it be the Elder God or any of your other cards, then you get those special abilities that only you can use. It was cool. I was really impressed with it. Nice, simple one. I played it with a friend of mine who plays a lot of games, but he doesn't play like a wide variety. Like I'll play Magic with him quite a bit, and he played it. He was like, "That was really neat. I'd have to play it again before I think I get good at it." He was like, "That seems like a kind of game you have to play like 5 or 6 times to really get in the headspace of your opponents." But oh man, Thing 12 really just knocked it out of the park. So that completes like every game that they've directly published at first. They came out with a couple other games that they now own the rights and they publish, like Osaka, I think is one of them.
Yeah, I saw that.
And a couple others. And, you know, hey, honestly, right now, if they back it like that, I trust it.
Yeah.
They are another... I have not had a disappointment with them yet. So, that's just me. That it was Seals of Cthulhu by Thing 12.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I haven't played it. I've only played their Crown series, so I can't really decide all the
Dice
other
of
games.
Pirates, Dice of Crowns, the Dice of series.
Dice of series, yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, Dice of Dragons is coming out soon.
Yeah.
I know they're finishing up production on that. But like I said, I mean, if I were callous and egocentric, I could say you should look into matches.
Yeah, which should be coming onto your crowdfunding source soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you could follow Thing 12
Yeah.
to get notifications on that. But you know what? Ignore everything
And
I said
listen to the
I'm not
podcast
talking
because we'll
about
talk about it a lot.
Yeah, I'm not talking about it right now. So,
But later
it's
we'll
fine.
talk about it.
Yeah,
but not
right,
right now.
right. Yeah,
that
exactly.
you can find matches on a crowdsource
Yeah, it's
system
Kickstarter.
soon.
It'll be
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
Soon.
Yeah.
I
But once
wasn't
again,
sure. Yeah.
we're not talking.
Well, we're
about
not talking
that
about it. It's
Right.
just, it's going to
That'll be
happen
next
later.
time.
We'll
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
it when it goes on Kickstarter. That
Hey,
is
Creative
matches.
Chaos. I'm still sore, by the way. I won't explain why.
I know why. So let's move on to my next pick here. And it's actually was one of my most anticipated game. In fact, these 2 games, if I hadn't played it, would be on this list right now. And the first one is Tenpenny Park from Thunderworks Games. I adored it. It was actually really, really good. It's a worker placement. You're building your own amusement park. It has really smart choices about how you got to build your parks on there. Mm-hmm. So you have to build your parks in a certain shape. They're like polynomials, but they're just like weird shapes at times.
No.
They can't touch other cardboard unless it's on the diagonal, like corner to corner.
So Bloca style.
Yeah, and in fact, if you have trees on your board, they can't go over a tree unless that tree is cut down later on. That's one of the worker placement spots, is you can take trees off your board. They can't hang off the board, but you can buy extenders. There's another worker placement spot. And so you're basically playing in 5 rounds trying to give the most excitement, the most awe, the most joy out there. And so it does different things, and you're scoring points as you go along. And it's just, I just see the Dice Tower's review of it, and they were talking about money is important. It is true. You have to make sure you're being smart in how you're getting your money, because you can't build any of these amusement parks without the money. You can't really cut the trees without the money. So you got to be smart about what you're doing. You got to make sure you get into your advertisement. In a sense, it is a park simulator. That's kind of there. It's more of like spatial awareness of how you put your park. And so like you can literally, there's one where, or a couple that have like a hole in the middle. Mm-hmm. And so you can place it right over a tree because the tree is going through the hole. And so it just surrounds the entire tree.
That's fun.
And it's really neat what it does. Had a good time playing it. It didn't overstay its welcome. It's Vincent Dutray art. So that's going to get it out there. I love the carousel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's very,
right?
It's a carousel.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what it's called. Oh. But you're turning it, so you're making some things cheaper. You're making things more expensive. That's what makes first player the most important thing, because you get to determine in the next round where it's going to go. It has to move, and so if there's something you really, really want, you can make it cheaper. This way you can hit it first. Or if you know where someone's trying to go to, you'll make that cheaper. This way they'll go there instead of going to the thing you're trying to get to first. Because the park rides are the worker placement spot. Once worker goes there, they're the only one that can go there. There's other worker placement spots on the board itself that everybody can go to.
Right.
And so I love the way this game played. The artwork, the style, really good quality components too. Thunderworks is really knocking it out of the park outside of the role player realm. Because like Lockup, you have role player, all that's really good. But with Cape May, now Tenpenny Park, they're going outside that realm, and it's doing phenomenal for me. I'm really enjoying all of it.
I do want to try Tenpenny. It does look really good.
And that was Tenpenny Parks by Thunderwork Games.
Good deal. The next game I wanted to talk about was a game that I wasn't expecting much of. So, along with the shop getting a whole bunch of new games, they got a bunch of small games that like I didn't even hear about. And along with that, there was a single small little game from Blue Orange called Downtown Farmers Market. Okay? Pretty generic, right? Yeah. But it was in a little box, and it was like $17. So, I was like, all right, sure, I'll give it a try, right? Just that way, if nothing else, I can at least teach the other players. They can buy copies if they like it, whatever, right? It was so new that it's not even on Board Game Geek yet.
Wow.
Miniature Market listed as pre-order.
And you already got a copy.
I already got a copy. Now, I hope I'm not getting my store in trouble, but, I got a copy.
Well,
it didn't look like it was a big release anyway.
And honestly, they can't really get mad at you because you can just play I'm the one that teaches the game, so I need to break street date.
Yeah, exactly. And so, our same mutual friend, he was there on our game night this last Saturday, so I bought it, opened it up, I was like, okay, this is cool. Sat down, read the rules real quick. I'm like, you guys want to try this? Said, sure. We played a 3-player game. The idea is that you are going to have a total of 8 goal cards, like little tiles. 4 of which are going to go on the top of your play area in a row. And then another 4 will be placed as a column next to that. So it makes a play space of a 4x4 grid. So 16 spots. And all of them have different goals, like you need to have, like this row.
Hold on, I just had a thought. You played this on Saturday?
Yes.
Downtown,
right after our farmer's market. Yes, that's right. That's right, exactly. And so, so you, like all these goal tiles, I'll have stuff like you need to have like exactly 11 items in this row, or you might need to have absolutely no cheese or bread, or like one you might need to have like exactly 4 eggs, throughout all of your tiles, right? Mm-hmm. And so on your turn, all you do is you flip over 5 ingredient tiles, and then everyone takes a single tile and places it somewhere in their grid at below one tile and to the right of another.
Okay.
And so you're trying to match it up. It's like, well, obviously this row can't have a cheese, so maybe I'll get the milk tile, that has 2 milk and an egg, and I'll put it here on the tile that needs exactly 11 items, because 3 is the most can be on a tile. Yeah. So I need a 3, a 3, a 3, and a 2.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was like a really light version of Tiny Towns. Okay. Like, it was really smart because where you put those tiles really, really mattered. and which ones you choose. And each tile had like a hard side and an easy side. And at the beginning of the game, you just get to choose which one because they're each with a number of points.
What is with these food games that are getting us at point salad, abandon all artichokes?
Right.
This one. What is the one that Devere's coming out with? But that you and me
Veggies.
Veggies that we were both really intrigued
Which
with.
I'm going to be getting it, by the way.
Are you guys getting it?
No, not the store.
Oh, you're getting it.
Demoing it. Yeah.
Nice. So, I want to get a copy because I really like when we played it there. I was like, okay, this is good. It's a nice little quick card game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now this farmer market one is like, damn it.
Yeah. No. For $17.
Yeah, it's not bad.
There's more than I think like 150 tiles or something in it.
Oh, dang.
It's just pure tiles. Like you open the box, there's a little sliver of cardboard to keep everything in place, and it's just wall to wall tiles, all of it, and it works really well. And what's cool is in a 3-player game, there's always 4 tiles that go away, and so the first player of each round takes their first tile and then discards a tile. And so you're straight up hate drafting. Obviously, if it's 4 players, you each just take a tile. If it's 2 players, first player takes a tile, discards, then the next player takes a tile, discards, and then you refill the market.
Dang.
It works so well. It was really, really smart, and I'm thoroughly impressed by it. And so the only thing I think I can improve on it, though, is I want to put little tokens in it that when you know you break a goal tile, because you can't change it after that point, you can just put a little token on it saying, like, okay, let me just, like, mentally, instead of mentally remembering, like, I don't want to go for that one anymore, you just go, nah, there's no helping that one anymore. And so that way you can just be a little more focused on it. But, and that might not even fit in the box if I do that. So,
Jeez.
It was so impressively good. I highly encourage you to try it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Brand new game from Blue Orange, Downtown Farmers Market.
So, unlike you, I didn't play a lot of games during that break. Mind you, 1 week I was sick. The other times, what free time I had was fixing these shelves and getting the things that I needed to do. But there's one game I did get to play that would have made this list hands down if I hadn't played it.
Was I in this game?
Oh, yeah. And I played this twice.
I didn't put this on my list because of this.
Yeah. And this is Return to the Dark Tower by Restoration Games. This probably, outside of Unmatched, is my favorite.
When did we play this? Sorry, not to throw you off.
Yeah, so we played this. Let me check. I have it in my apps.
Because I'm not sure I put that on my list.
We played it April 6th.
No, I sure didn't.
Did you put popcorn dice on that? Because there's a shout out.
Oh, yes, there it is. Yep, okay.
So we did play it. Had a great time with it. I liked it so much. I only back the base game and then the Alliance expansion because I wanted the other characters. I didn't buy back the minis or
the super expensive other stuff.
Yeah, or the playmat. And I kicked myself for not backing at least the minis. The board works fine. It's not like warped. It's not really bad. So the playmat's always nice. Yeah. So I went and the Zia had the minis. After we played it that first time, I went and bought those.
Yes.
Because it was so good. I had a great time playing it. Again, this is along the lines of Meeples and Monsters. It was a 3-hour game. It didn't feel like a 3-hour game.
No.
We were just like, and then the tower starts rotating, and the skulls start popping out, and then you have to take pieces off the Dark Tower, and then the ambiance with the app and the music in the background, and the fact that there's noise coming out of the tower itself, and we're just like, yes, this is amazing. It wasn't for the fact it's a great game. I'm not saying it isn't a great game, but just the toy factor alone.
I absolutely hated dropping a skull into that every single turn. Like, because you would hear it, like, ding, 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 like, and you try and figure out, like, wait, did that fall on my side? Or is that on your side? I don't like this.
And then the big thing is, like, okay, or when it's doing like, one of the pieces is going to come off, and everybody's like, don't be on my side, don't be on my side. And so we were playing a 3-player game the first time. We were like, be over there. Go on that side. We don't have to worry about that side.
Right, exactly.
But
let those villages burn.
Yeah, had a great time playing it. I agree with you. Every time we had to put the skull in, and not just hearing them fall, it's just waiting for, like, if the app is going to make that ominous noise that event's about to happen.
You always get that shifty moment.
Okay. Oh, no, okay. We're good. And then it'll go to your turn, and you'd be like, and then 2 events pop up because of you.
Always. Well, no, it was always after one of our turns. It wasn't just mine.
No, but I'm saying it's like every time it's like, okay, and then this guy does that, and then
it was how the skulls kept falling out on your side.
Mm-hmm. After
that was our friend's side.
Yeah, no. After I had left my
No.
side, the skull started falling on my side because I'm like, my character was really good about cleaning up the skulls, so I had to go and run and try to fix the skulls. But no, we had a really good time playing it. We tried to play smartly, and we did okay. We got to like the 6th month, and finally I got the last corruption I could take, just because I kept getting surrounded by freaking wolves.
It was really close.
So I did play it again not too long later, and when I bought the minis with my other friends, and we actually won by the skin of our teeth. Played the same exact scenario, but we changed up the monsters because I was reading online. When you're doing monsters, try to have them overlap at least one of their things. So, like if they're undead, or magic,
and we just picked at random.
Yeah, we just picked at random.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so we picked up this. It was a magic undead, and then the other one was like a magic beast, and then the other one was straight magic undead again. Okay. And then the Ash Rider was also a magic beast. And so it just states to do that just to make it a little bit, especially for first-time players. After that, you can start because it allows you to focus on the bonuses that you're going to get.
Yeah.
So like treasures or the weapons and stuff like that. But oh my god, this was so good! I really, really enjoyed this game a lot. Again, like I said, I went and picked up the minis just because I want more of the toy factor.
Yeah, no, this was phenomenal.
I need to show you the minis because one of the
don't show me the minis.
Oh, because one of the bad guys.
Don't you dare show me those minis.
The Titan is amazing.
I don't care about minis. That's my only solace in this, and that I can justify not buying it is because I don't care about minis.
Until I show you
so
the
don't
minis.
show me those minis,
show you the minis,
please, sir.
They're right there.
My wallet cannot afford said minis.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't a bad price for just buying the minis after I had already bought the game. So I had that. The minis were only $80. Oh, not only that, I also bought the what are they called? The tokens, the plastic, the resin tokens.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Tell you, it's not that bad.
All right. Once again, Downtown Farmers Market was $17.
I spent $80 just for minis.
You could almost buy 5 copies of that game. Yeah, no,
it's very worth it though.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm not saying it's not.
In fact, I could just pull it. I could do show and tell like you always do. Pull it off the show.
Go ahead. While you're doing the show and tell, I'm going to talk very briefly. I know we're already done with our shout-outs, but me and my wife and kids got to play Manchikoro 2, the sequel.
That's cool.
Quite a bit fun. It took a lot of the things that expansions fixed in Manchikoro and threw it all into one. I played Nickelodeon Splat Attack for the first time, which was pretty great. Nickelodeon Splat Attack is like food fights starring Nickelodeon characters. You jerk. Nickelodeon Splat Attack was really fun. Let's see here. What else did I play? I finally played Equinox, which Equinox is a fantastic little game. Our mutual friends really enjoyed Equinox.
Throw that up to the...
All right, let's take a look. There we go. It's as close as I can get. There we go. We'll cover Daniel's head with that. All right. So, yeah, Equinox was a fantastic little game. Look at I actually played Furnace for the first time, which is an amazing auction engine building game.
I want to play that one. Our friend Gamehead Geek was telling me about that at work.
Our head was hurting so bad after that game, but in such a good way. It was fantastic. All right, so Daniel, now within me trying to deliberately avoid looking at the minis too long for my own safety.
They were nice though, right?
They were pretty nice.
Titan was pretty cool, huh?
Were really good. Those are hardly minis at that point. Let's talk about our most anticipated games of 2022.
Okay.
Now, I'll be honest. At first, this was just a list of games that I either knew about already or mainly saw at GAMA. Most of the games that I have on my list were from GAMA. Then I decided, okay, well, I'm actually gonna look at some of the other what's coming out in 2022 lists, and then that way I can actually bring those up, But then I realized we're already almost halfway through the year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of pointless, and I give up, and I'm just gonna go with my original list. So with that being said, I have our Coin of Doom as always. Daniel, are you ready to begin?
I'm ready.
You begin.
Ooh, so my first game on the list is kind of a
Oh,
cheat.
wait. I'm sorry. Pause. How many crossovers are we going to have? I'm thinking only one.
I'm saying at minimum 2, possibly 3.
Okay, so is your bet 2 or 3?
2.
Okay.
All right, so my first game on the list here that I was trying to say is kind of a bit of a cheaty list. Actually, my first 2.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's a cheaty list.
They say it's supposed to come out this year. That's another thing is like my honorable mention would be Frosthaven. It would be on this list. But because I've been paying attention to what's going on, I don't think it's coming out this year. I honestly think it'd be at easy Q1 2023.
That's fair.
Just for the simple fact that where they're doing their production right now has a COVID spike going on in Shanghai. So even the manufacturing plants, they're not printing anything right now because everything's kind of shut down and locked down.
It's understandable.
So, yeah. So I don't... Frosthaven would have been on this list, but I just don't think it's going to hit this year. So... Another one that won't be on my list is the Feld games, the City Collection from Queen Games, because one, they were on my list last year, and they got pushed back. Again, I understand why they did, but it's just one of those that Queen, I'll believe it when they show up. So the first game on my list is another one of those. I don't know if it'll come out in 2022. They're still saying it is,
right?
And this is.
8 months.
Yeah.
So we're good.
And this is Endless Winter Paleo Americans. This looks really, really good. It's another one of those deck building worker placement games like Dune and Lost Ruins of Arnak, based on the Paleo time. So
yeah, which is, I know you love that.
Oh, I love that
story. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks really good. I don't know too much about it other than that. But I love the art on it from what I've seen. I pre-ordered. I didn't back the Kickstarter because I kicked myself for not doing it too. So once I saw like Game Nerds had it up where I can pre-order pretty much everything, I did. The only thing I can't get is like the cave painting expansion or something like that because they were sold out on that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I hope it does come out this year because I really, really want to try this one, and that's Endless Winter Paleo Americans.
Very cool. So my number 8, the first one I'm going to talk about, is one of those games that you mentioned earlier. It is the City Collection from Stefan Feld. And that's why I have it as number 8, just because we have talked about it so much before. I thought it was just, since there's a good chance that it'll come out this year, I am very much looking forward to it. But all 4 of the games that are included in that list, hopefully we'll be getting them soon. And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I'm looking forward to it. I really want to get these this year, but we were supposed to get the first 2 last year, and it didn't happen. So I'm cautiously saying that
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic it'll hit this year. But the fact that they have to produce 4 games, I don't think it is going to come.
Yeah, just to clarify for Creative Chaos, yes, the tower is about 16 inches tall.
Yeah,
it's a significant. Where oftentimes
it's taller than this cup.
Yeah, our mutual friend who hosted a game night a while back when you weren't feeling great. We were talking about that. He played a solo version of it, and he said he absolutely hated the fact that he had to keep getting up and looking around the tower because that thing is a beast.
So the tower is so big. So Danny and our mutual friend Dom were sitting across from each other, and I was sitting across from the empty side. Danny could not see what was going over on Dom's side. Right. I couldn't see what's going over the empty side, so I had to ask them, like, okay, where do I go? Where am I at? Can you just move my
Oftentimes
character?
I couldn't see Dom's face. So there's that.
Yeah, so it was good. But yeah, next one is number 7?
The next one, number 7.
It looks like it's heads.
Tails.
Oh, that's tails. All right, it's me again. So my next one is another one that, and this one is more so because they haven't really given us a lot of information. It is supposed to come out this year. I've also looked up at, like, once I made this list, I looked at other people's lists just to see if I can see another game. Okay, maybe this will push my game off the list that were on this list too, and they're expecting it to come out this year. And it's a legacy game called Stellaris Infinite Legacy. So it is a 4X legacy game based on a video game I really, truly enjoy, where you could build your race, you could build your ships, and you could basically pause it, and it plays legacy style. So, like, if I have a 4-player group playing it, and somebody can't show up for a couple weeks, their race is still there. They're just kind of, like, declined and moved away. So we can still play 3 players of it, and then they come back and they don't really miss too much about it. So because it's an infinite legacy, so they could just come in and out. It looks intriguing. It's by Academy Games, so off the history aspect and into a video game world.
You like that?
Yeah, I love Academy Games. I really want to try this one. I really want to play it. I love the video game it's based off. And if they can give you that video gamey feel and give me a 4X legacy game that should be fun, I'm looking forward to this. Again, I just don't think it's coming out this year.
That's fair. And to respond to Creative Chaos, yeah, Daniel tends to really like the cinematic or thematic style games. Although, you have to admit, lately I've been getting a lot better.
Yeah, no, he really enjoyed Return to Dark Tower.
Was
he's like, I'm not really big into theme, but this just leaks theme, and I loved it.
And there were games that I played where, like, honestly, Meadow I thought was really boring, kind of. Like, I mean, it was fine. It was a lovely game. I enjoyed my experience. I'm okay. Like, I don't care if I
The theme
played
is not there.
And it's like, the theme didn't do it for me. It wasn't exciting. And I kept thinking to myself, what am I? Why am I like the person who like I could care less about theme? Why am I not excited about this?
Dry Euro is not exciting.
Right, exactly. And it was just something about it. I was like,
what I think it is Lost Ruins of Arnak ruined it for you.
It might have.
Because it gave you a very thematic Euro game.
It did. It was really good. All right, so speaking of thematic Euro games, my next one is not. It is Azul Queen's Garden. And so
this was on my short list.
Yeah. I made this list prior to us getting it in stock, which we just recently did, and I have since acquired a demo copy to test out. I haven't played it yet, but I want to. However, I watched a lot of reviews about it, and I'm cautious about it because I love all the Azuls.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of reviewers were kind of wishy-washy on this one, kind of saying, because of the fact that there's a lot of like little caveats to what you can and can't do. Like, for example, in order to lay down a tile that has like 6 birds on it, you need 6 of those that you need to discard. But they all have to be different colored. And you can use your wild as Joker, that's fine. But, like when you're drafting the tiles, you have to only take... You either pick all of one color or all of one picture.
Design.
Yeah. And you can't get 2 of the exact same tile. So if I pick a red tree, I can't get another red tree.
Okay. All
of my other red tiles have to be different pictures, or all of my other trees have to be different colors. And so, like, that makes sense, but that was never in any of the other Azuls. It didn't matter because all tiles were just the color. Mm-hmm. Now it has to do color and picture.
Design, yeah.
And so, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker.
I think it's going to still be better than the second one. I said it.
See, and I really don't understand why people hate that one as much as... I understand why you do. The colors make sense. But, like, I mean, I thought it was an honest step up from the first one. Like, I liked it just as much. But, I mean, this new one, with those caveats, I don't know how I'm going to like it.
We'll see.
I hope I'm
we
proven
both didn't
wrong.
think we were going to like Meeples and Monsters, and look how that turned out.
That's true. Going into it with like we're playing it to get it off the shelf of shame and loving every minute of it. Maybe that'll be Azul as well.
Because another reason why we played it got it off 3 people's shelf of shame.
Yes, all 3 of ours.
Yeah,
which is very rare.
Yeah, so we had a great.
I was impressed by it.
And Return to Dark Tower got it off 2 of our shelves of shames and one of us work of obligation shelf of shame.
Work of obligation. Work of obligation shelf of shame. That's interesting. Yeah, but so that's my number 2, or I guess number 7.
7,
is Azul Queen's Garden.
All right, moving on.
On to number 6.
Hey, me again.
You again.
So my next game is... I told you I was going to do this anyways because I haven't played it. I do own a copy of it. It finally came in during the time I was sick, or during that period where we were out, and that is Vagrant Song. Oh. No, I already played Tenpenny Park.
I know.
Vagrant Song, which is right over there. Right under the dinosaur world, you can see like the bottom game. Everything I've heard about this game, everything I've seen about this game looks amazing. Yeah. You're basically doing like this co-op story. You're trying to fight off the ghosts on this ghost train that you're on. We saw this at GAMA. The acrylic standees look amazing. I actually unboxed it and got everything ready for it to get played one of these days. Hopefully tomorrow. And it looks so good. And honestly, I love minis and I love meeples. I really, really am enjoying these acrylic standees.
I think this is the new fix.
Yeah.
This solves a lot of problems.
And it's a bit cheaper than doing something like a mini.
And it looks better than cardboard.
Yeah. It's just way better than a cardboard standee. They're phenomenal looking. This is a very well published game for a company that was known for making minis.
Yeah. The irony, right?
Because I think they're called like Word Miniatures or something like that, or used to be called Weird Miniatures. Yeah. So yeah, it just it looks good. I like the story. It's got like that 19s, 20s, 30s cartoon style. A lot of people like try to compare it to Cuphead and Townfolk Tussle, and it's just
people
because
forget cartoons existed in the 30s.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's style.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean the games are completely alike. It's just the style that people are liking right now. And I think it looks really good. I want to give this a try. It looks like I'd be having a blast with this. Because it ticks a lot of things. I love co-ops. It does like this like spooky ghost story kind of aspect on it as well. Gorgeous table presence. Yep. So, because I mean, it drew us both over at GAMA when we saw it. It's like, oh, let's go take a look at that.
Well, no, you dragged me over to it. Like, I walked by it a few times. Like, it's interesting. But you were like, no, Danny, come here. You're like, no, get over here.
Yeah.
You're gonna look at this. And I was like, oh yeah, I've seen it.
And then you started looking at the acrylic stuff, and you're like, okay,
I do like that.
And once you got up close, it just how they kind of pops. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. I don't disagree with you on that. Still no crossovers yet. My next one, my number 6, still not a crossover, but it was a game that you and I both played in its entirety at GAMA, and it's not out yet. How many games can we say that?
In its entirety?
We played the entire game.
Oh, okay. It's not the one I was thinking originally.
It's a small little card game.
Yeah. No, is it a card game?
This one is.
I thought it was the dice game.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, no dice in this game. But I will give you a big hint. There are 7 timers.
Oh, I totally forgot about this one.
Kites by Floodgate
that one
Games.
is so good.
That's Sobel art.
Honestly,
7
if I
timers.
had remembered this, it would have been a crossover.
Right. Yep, absolutely. No, it was so cool how it worked. It's very simple. All you're trying to do is you play a card that has either 1 or 2 colors on it. And all of the timers have the symbols on it, so helps color blindness. But I didn't have too much trouble with the colors.
Yes,
They
7 sand timers that are only like a minute long.
No, they're all different timed.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what makes it interesting. But one of the 7 is white, which is a wild. You could choose any color. Mm-hmm. But all you do on your turn is you play a card, and you flip over 1 or both of the timers that it has listed. So if I have a red and an orange, I flip red and orange. If any one timer goes out, you lose as a group.
And you have to play out the deck.
Yeah, that's simple. That's all it is.
It is so good, but so stressful. It's a whole new Hanabi.
Yeah. And I love it like when you get to the point, because I was like just staring at my cards, like being just completely dumb. And I'm sure our demonstrator, he was kind of like looking at me like, come on, dude, like really? Like, and I already didn't have a voice, so like you couldn't understand what I was saying anyway.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll play the orange, And it was so great just because he was like, all right, somebody play red. And I just looked at my hand. Nope. I'll play blue. And then he's like, all right, well, send red to me. I got this. And you were like, yeah, you're going to have to. Here's that one. And he's like, fine. Like, he plays it all fast. And then suddenly, now it's my turn again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wow. Okay, now which one is... Which one did I almost...
I don't like almost like a real-time game. This is pretty much a real-time game.
It's absolutely...
I don't like games that raise my anxiety. I love this game. This was so fun.
Yeah, and that's Kites by Floodgate Games.
Yeah, this would have been on my list if
I'm going to buy it as soon as I find it.
Yeah, if it comes out, I'm probably going to buy a copy as well. And it from what he was telling us, the retail is not expensive.
20.
It's like 20 or 25, something like that, yeah.
Yep. So there you go.
All right, next one.
Our number 5. I'll be leading us off for
That's our number 6.
That was our number 6.
Oh, no, yeah, 5.
Number 5 was a game that I had backed on Kickstarter that I finally got to see a copy of some of the components over at the Underdog Games booth. and that is Trekking Through
Oh,
History.
yeah.
Yeah,
You finally got to play Trekking
I
World.
finally played Trekking World, and I liked it a lot. I played Trekking the National Parks before, which I always really loved.
Speaking of which,
And now that I finally played them, I really enjoyed myself. And Trekking Through History, from what I understand, uses a very different different mechanisms than the original. You're not jumping around a map, obviously, but you are moving your timepieces, all similar to Patchwork, where whoever's farthest back gets to move their piece forward. And that player is the one who takes their turn. Every card takes a certain number of time that you need to do. So that's important that you get the right time. And you have to trade in certain cards to get these different parts throughout history of different world events. The art looks amazing. The pieces that you move are stopwatches, or not stopwatches, pocket watches, which looks amazing. All the pieces just look fantastic. And I am very glad that I backed it, because that kind of convinced me to, or kind of reiterated the fact of how much I was probably going to like this game. So there it is. That was Trekking Through History by Underdog Games.
speaking of which, I finally just pulled the trigger and bought Trekking at the National Parks.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I was trying to buy it at the store, but they didn't have a copy, so I'm like,
Nope,
screw it.
it is what it is.
All right, so next one on my list is one that Kickstarter just recently finished, but if anybody can get it on the same year, it's this company, and that's Prospero Hall. And this game
Is this the legacy one?
Yep.
So I didn't back it.
Oh.
I was hoping to pick up a copy once it comes into retail.
Oh, yeah.
Or I could play your copy.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe.
Huh?
Maybe.
Please?
Maybe.
Please?
Maybe. You don't invite
No,
me to your legacy game days.
Two live here. What are you talking about? Risk Legacy and Rise of Queensdale both live here.
That is true.
And they are my games.
You can see one of them. Well, actually, both of them are right up there. You can only see one of them.
Don't invite you my rear. Come on. No, but that's true. No, I was planning on buying a copy because it's going to be the same price at retail.
Yeah.
You know,
I did like some of the Kickstarter exclusives that they gave you. And it wasn't much.
Cool.
Honestly, I was going to support it regardless.
Yes.
I get
Agreed.
wanting to support retail, but I was just like, I'm going to get it. I'll have it. And this is Jurassic World Legacy of Isle Newbar.
Yep.
And so this encompasses the entire series of Jurassic Park. This includes the first 3 movies, and then the
tutorial even starts before the movies.
Yeah, exactly. And so it looks really good. We saw bits and pieces of it at GAMA. Once we saw, especially this was announced like in 2021, you sent me a link, and it's just like, dude, Prospero Hall's doing a legacy, and you showed it to me. I was like, damn it, instant buy. Yep. Hands down, I'm going to buy it. I love Prospero Hall games. There's only one I have not liked, and that was one of their earlier games. So, in fact, you don't really see it behind his head, but I got Trapper Keeper right over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trapper Keeper. Surprisingly good.
Surprisingly, you like, really? Trapper Keeper, the board game? Really?
I'm still sad we didn't get our mutual friend to buy the unicorn one, which was the only one of the 4 designs that we all didn't. Well, there's 4, right?
There's only 3. Yeah, the space one.
I got one. You got.
I got the palm trees, and we tried to get him.
I got space. We're trying to get him to get the unicorns, and he wouldn't do it.
But Prospero Hall, they do such a phenomenal game. You see, like, right above Daniel's head over there. Not all my Prospero Halls, but most of my Prospero Halls.
I think it was Creative Chaos, by the way. Sorry,
What's
I didn't mean to interrupt. It should. Creative Chaos was asking if that was the same one that the guy mentioned last time.
Yes, looks really good. Actually, seeing the components based on the Kickstarter and stuff like that, I'm gonna be happy with this game. I think I'm gonna have a great time with it. It's gonna be a family weight legacy game, so it's not super serious for You can play with your 9-10-year-olds and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it. And that is Jurassic World Legacy, the Isle of Newbar.
Very good. And now on to our number 5. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I count these right? I have 9. All right. I'll figure that out. All right. So the next one will be you.
So this one will be on your list. I'm already calling it right now. This one is probably one of your favorite games that come out recently, and it has a theme on it that I truly and utterly enjoy.
I don't think this will be on my list.
Marvel Dice Throne? No.
No. I don't care about superheroes. You forget this.
Yeah, but you love Dice Throne.
I own the first 2 seasons of Dice Throne and Adventures. In fact, I played it just last week, and I enjoyed it immensely.
Honestly,
but I don't care about Marvel.
I'm looking forward to this one. It does really good things.
Yeah, we're on number 4.
We are on number 4. Yep. It does really good things that I enjoy with Dice Throne. I just didn't want to pull that price trigger with all that. And then they're like, hey, we're going to bring out these. And I'm like, I'm in. It's Marvel.
Yep.
Gives me like superheroes that I really enjoy, or in the powers that make sense with them when it comes to the dice, instead of like these generic samurai, paladin, stuff like that. This one is like, okay, Doctor Strange does do stuff like that. Gives me that connection. So I'm really looking forward to this. I finally have a copy of Dice Thrones that I do enjoy the game. I've played your copy a couple times, and it's just, now that they tag the Marvel on it, I'm like, I'm in. That's it, hands down.
Yep, shut up, take my money. There we go.
And they did shut up and took my money.
Yep,
they took a lot of it.
They shut you up, and they took said money. That's right.
So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but Marvel Dice Throne is on my anticipated list.
I apologize that it's not on mine. I don't. So my next one,
For shame.
because I realized I have 9 on my list, so I combined 2 of them. And speaking of Prospero Hall.
I knew this was going to be on your list.
Which one?
Hands down. Goof Troop. Or the Goofy movie.
Yeah, actually, I put both this and Rear Window as the same one because I am equally as excited about both of them.
Rear Window looks so good.
Rear Window does look really good, and it was one of my dad's favorite movies, so I'm really excited about that. But Goofy Movie, the board game, where you are all competing to travel across the country and get to the Powerline concert before anybody... Oh my god, yes. Like... I
thought it was co-op.
No, I think it's versus. You're trying to get the best seats in the.
There is going to be a Goofy Movie game. I think August. They said around summertime.
Something like that. Yeah, it's coming out soon. We've seen the miniatures. The Max miniature looks really good.
Dude,
but more than anything, the Goofy die. It looks so good. It's a big old chunky, like transparent die. Great symbols. It's almost any game with a map of the U.S. on it. I'm already kind of interested in. Add on Goofy movie.
Yeah.
I was about to start singing like Powerline soundtrack. Like, well,
I do like the fact that your boss, Troy from Zia Comics, was making the mention is like, they just buy all the old licenses because they're making the board games based on movies out of the 90s, 80s, 70s. They got Goonies, Rear Window,
the Warrior.
Movie, the Warriors.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm okay with that because, yes, in Creative Chaos, yes, it is my favorite. No, it's not my favorite. It is my second favorite Disney animated movie of all time.
Oh, I know what your favorite is.
Sword in the Stone, yeah. But Goofy Movie is so up there.
But it's funny because you're just mentioning it right now. Villainous gave you your favorite villain.
Yes.
And Goofy Movie is giving you what's your second favorite Goofy game.
That's right. So
Disney.
My Disney days are so nostalgic now with board games.
Yeah, right now it's like, boom, this year was your perfect Disney year.
Right. It really was. It really was. And I look forward to it. Now, if Prospero Hall made a Sword in the Stone board game, can you imagine how good that would be? Like, at that point, I would be willing to pay him right now just to consider the idea. Like, here is money, just saying I would like this. You don't even have to make it, just throwing this idea out there.
Dude, they could just make a 2-player version of Sword and Stone where one player is playing Madame Mim, the other player is playing Merlin. It's like a little tug of war with spells.
I would do it. 100%. I'm in. 100%. Anything with Merlin in it, I tend to buy
2-player trick-taking game.
Okay, let's do it. I'm in. I'm okay with that. All right, our next one, number 3. You'll be starting us off as usual.
Alrighty, so my number 3 is one that is out. I haven't played it yet. Our buddy owns this game. We saw this at GAMA, and even you were like, the production value of this is amazing. And this is Merchants of the Dark Road. I don't know a lot about it. Elf Creek. I don't know too much about it. I know it's kind of like worker placement where different merchants trying to compete before soldiers or the heroes go into the dark roads and start fighting things and stuff like that. It looks really good. Like, just the production value of this is top notch. And they're even saying, like, if you buy the retail version on their website, they actually sell the Kickstarter, the upgrade bits and stuff like that. So you can still get the Kickstarter exclusive, or not exclusive, the Kickstarter stuff like editions.
Yeah.
So all the components and stuff like that were on Kickstarter. But honestly, I just really want to try this one. I saw it when I was on Kickstarter, but there was like two other, and one of them was, I think, when it was on Kickstarter, was the original Cities collection. And so
Yep.
there was no way I could afford both of those games at that time. There was no way I could afford both of those games at this time. So, because both of them are pretty pricey. I do want to get this one a try. I'm looking really forward to it. Our buddy keeps bringing it to us, and I'm like sitting there looking at it like, oh my God, I want to play it. But then we play other good games. It's just, we're trying to get multiple games off people's shelf of shame.
Right.
And
that's tricky to do.
Yeah. And so he's the only one that owns this, but I really do want to try this, and that's Merchants of the Dark Road.
That's right. Very good.
Your next?
So my next one, my number 3 is an escape room game. And when you and I saw this, we actually got privy to it by like about an hour before everybody else did, because we showed up to the seminar a little earlier. And they were testing it.
Yeah.
It is an unlock game.
Yeah.
Which if you're familiar with the
Very
Unlock
meta.
series, if you're familiar with the Unlock series, it is a series of escape rooms where you normally have about a 60 card deck. You're trying to solve by combining different things together. It's all app driven, and they normally pick like a theme or some kind of commonality amongst all 3 of them that they include. However, the one I'm specifically talking about that's coming out is specifically about other board games that the company publishes. So
basically, this is Asmodee. So it's not just what they
yes.
publish; it's just like everything in their library they can touch.
So the 3 scenarios that are in it, one is based on Pandemic, one is based on Ticket to Ride, and one is based on Mysterium. Which Mysterium makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah. What's funny about it is like they picked 2 of Evergreen's Pandemic, and then they're like, Mysterium would work.
Yeah, Mysterium would work. Yeah. No, but it's the most thematic amongst the 3.
No. Yeah.
But Pandemic, that makes sense to...
I don't know. Ticket to Ride could be thematic. It could be like a Murder on the Orient Express.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that's why it's like, there's everything about that I like.
I know.
Yeah, because I like all 3 of those games. I think that was an awesome idea. I mean, I know it's fan service, right?
But fan service could be great.
It can be. And I expect it to be.
It was funny because when we both got there and we saw that, we were like, no.
Yeah, we were very surprised. Even our boss, who's not the biggest, gamer, he saw those and he recognized all those titles. He was like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I still got to play my Star Wars one.
Me too. I know. I haven't played it. Maybe we should play it to get both of us off our
Shelf of Shame, yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous to do on an escape room game.
Yeah.
It was a one-time. But yeah, no, I absolutely love that. And Creative Chaos said, I wish they would make a Paper Mario board game or something. Yeah. The train thing made me think of it. Absolutely. I would love a Paper Mario style game.
Just Nintendo's very strict with their license. It's just not even funny.
Yeah. Yep. It's very, very rare. Like, that's why we don't have any good board games based on, like, Super Mario.
Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, Pressman made a Super Mario game not too long ago, and it was pretty bad.
That Monopoly Mario Kart is the best thing Mario for board games.
Right. That's saying something.
All right, let's move on.
All right, our number 2 most anticipated game of 2022. I will be starting us off. So, earlier we talked about AEG.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could say is darn it, AEG, because their main focus this year was demoing one specific game. The Guild of Merchant Explorers.
Yeah. I forgot about this one. I mean, it wouldn't have made my list, but
I love games that look like old maps. I don't know what it is. I love that style. I love the aesthetic of it.
No, that looks really good.
Everyone has the same map. It's all bingo style, so one person pulls a card.
It's basically
everyone
map
does something.
building tiny towns.
Yeah, exactly. You're building routes. It looks like a combination of Tiny Towns and that Donald X Vaccarino game that won Game of the Year where he was putting down pieces.
Kingdom Builder?
Yes. It looks like a combination of those two. Kingdom Builder and Tiny Towns. Yeah. And I love the aesthetics. I love how there's no specific color pieces. You're just using browns and sepia tone colors and stuff. But everyone, like, every time I walked by the booth, them trying it, everyone looked like they were just so in their head spaces going, oh, okay.
You can tell it's a good game.
Yeah, and then it's like, how do I put this? Do I want to do this? Like, you could tell. It's every single time. And AG, once again, they've been hitting out of the park. So there's a reason why I'm excited about this.
Oh, well, we're not going to have any crossover, I don't think.
No. Not yet. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
When I realized there was, I will be honest, when I realized that there was 9 on my list, I did take off one that I thought might have been a crossover. But I'll talk about that after.
All right, so my number 2, surprisingly, I don't know if you put it on your list or not, but I don't think you did, is actually a sequel to a game that we've played and fell in love with. And it's a Scott Alms game by Colossal Games.
Okay. Nope.
Almanac Crystal Peaks. I thoroughly enjoyed Almanac, the Dragon Road.
Yep.
And that was such a phenomenal, because I love the twist that they made with worker placement. Whereas, like, you can only, like, the first map, and this is for everybody's first map, you can only place one of your workers in one of the 4 tents, and once it's there, your other 2 workers can't go into that same tent. I love that aspect. Is like, hey, this is the only place you can go here. And then someone who leads the expedition can choose where they go next, and then that has its own little trick to your worker placement, where it's like, hey, you got to go into a straight line or go one below, or you have to make sure your characters don't fall because of something. And it's just it's phenomenal how that worked, and it's just all in a book. And I really, really enjoyed it so much. When this went on, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy this, and I get the original too. So I backed it for both. And I really enjoyed this game a lot. I love worker placements, and this one just hit on so many levels. And it's so simple too. It's not like overly complicated, because you're like, hey, these maps are doing different things. It's a lot to get your head around.
Yeah.
No. Once you go to that next map, it's like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing here. Oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. And you keep going until you finish going to the very end. I love that game so much. And I was like, looking into through my Kickstarters, because that's another way I was trying to, like, okay, what's supposed to come out this year? And I'm like, oh, that one. Yeah, doesn't make my list. So my number 2 anticipated game is Almanac Crystal Peaks.
Yeah, I'm doubting we'll have any crossover now, too. Because I'll be starting us off, and I'm surprised that you didn't have this on your list at all. And it's a game that we got to see firsthand. We kept you got like more of a direct demo than I did, because I just wasn't feeling it that day.
I know what you're talking about. It's Smirk and Dagger.
That's right. The Spill.
It was on my short list.
Okay. Yeah. No, The Spill looks so good, and it's a cooperative game where you are trying to just help deal with all of these this oil spill from
Speaking
an oil
of toy
rig.
factor.
Speaking of toy factor, like oil is spilling everywhere around the board. There's like 32 spots that it can go, or no, 24 spots that it can go. You drop the dice into the middle of the tower, the big or nice black dice that look like an oil spill. They fall down and they split into 4 different quadrants, and the number determines what space oil gets added to. Sometimes the animals might get oil on them. You're trying to clean them. You're trying to maintain them. It looks so fun. And Smirk and Dagger is another one of those companies that everything they put out has just always been just good. I've been looking forward to it. I almost considered putting Boop on my list, which is a cat game, but I chose not to because of the theme.
No, the Spill looked really good. Yeah. What I said about the toy factor, there's like a giant dice tower in the middle. It's like a buoy, and so when you put the dice into it, wherever they fall out in the quadrant is where the oil is going. Which
clearly, all of the games that come out this year that have towers in the middle of the board seem to be going well for us.
Yeah, it looks really good. I did think about it. It was on my short list.
Yeah.
As I was going through it, I'm like, it's got that cool factor, but it just didn't make that list, because all of these games, most of them I have actually pre-ordered or own. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of my 8 games I've either pre-ordered or own.
Wow. That's quite a bit.
Yeah. In fact, my number 1 is actually one of the most highly anticipated games this year that everybody loves. I just haven't got my copy yet, so I haven't been able to play it. And that is Ark Nova.
Yep.
This game looks so good. I think it's going to hit like the Euro aspect of how we like to think things through. I think this is going to hit on so many levels. To the fact that it's Tom Vassel's #1 at this very moment, it's just intriguing to me that he just played it and it's already knocked off.
It's been his #1 game of all time.
Yeah. When we were listening to the final Dice Tower, we both were shocked. We were like, "That's already #1." Yep. So, yeah. So I really want to try this one. It's pretty much building zoos. I love animals and zoos and stuff like that. That's why the spill was on my short list, because I love that sort of stuff. Yeah. And so, in fact, we have a new puppy in the house because I love animals so much.
Speaking of the spill.
Yeah, so Ark Nova is my #1 anticipated game.
Aaron.
So I really want to look forward to getting this played. And how's it going, NPC Aaron?
I completely agree. I do want to try this as well. The one I took off my list from earlier, and when I realized I had 9 instead of the 8, was Final Girl, and I'm surprised you didn't have that on your list.
For me, I want to get Final Girl. It is anticipated for me, but the fact that it's been out, and so it's Series 2 that's coming out this year. Final Girl came out last year, so it didn't make my list.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair.
But I will be able to get all of it in one go. But yeah, it didn't make my list for that reason, because it's like, this is just the Series 2, the sequel to it. Yeah. Pretty much. I'm just going to get it all together.
Yeah. Yeah, most certainly. Yeah, so, I mean, out of all of mine, let's look. How many... I had €1 for sure.
I have €1.
Checking through history is pretty thematic. Goofy Movie I know is going to be thematic. Unlocks are thematic. And the spill is thematic.
Very.
And technically Kites is thematic. But I really only had like €2 or €3.
Honestly, Kites would have made my list if I had remembered it. Yeah. I didn't have the time to go through everything, and especially like what we went through GAMA, but Kites was really good. Stressful.
Yeah. And once really again, like I said, I'm not conceited enough to plug matches on this.
No. We're not going to talk about matches until it goes on the Kickstarter.
Right, exactly. So I'll spare that.
Sometime at the end of this month, maybe early May, we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it looks... And I can appreciate light games. I mean, earlier, when we were talking about what we've been playing lately, I talked about Hedgehog Roll. So, stick with us, NPC.
As he beats up his microphone.
I apologize to all the audio viewers in advance. Stick around with us. We'll chat with you more. But we definitely want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you ever want to join us, like our friends Creative Chaos or NPC Aaron, on one of our live episodes, subscribe to us and follow us on twitch.tv/everydayboardgames so you can get notified when we come online.
It's yelling at me.
And remember, you need to accept your license agreement.
You can also find us all video re-uploads on YouTube at Everyday Board Games 2020. If you like what you see here, you could do 3 things for us. You can like the video. You can subscribe if you are not, and you can comment down below and tell us what you think. As well as all video podcast or all audio versions of podcasts can be found on most video podcast platforms. I don't know why I want to keep saying video. This is you can find us on Podbean, Google Podcast, Spotify, and Amazon Music.
Yeah. And if you ever want to reach out to us directly and say hello, maybe give us ideas for future episodes, or possibly keep in contact with us in case we do another contest, wink. Hopefully sometime soon, then please do so by emailing us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. Remember, even though we're in 2020 is our email.
Yes, 2020 is because that's when we started the podcast. You can also get in contact with us on our official Twitter account at EBG Podcast.
All right, so we want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Everyday Board Game Podcast. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.